Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I have just returned home from work, and as soon as I went on Twitter, there was this tweet from Adam, the lead community manager dude with his gargantuan arms that could crush a planet. And I was like, ooh, I should make a video and read the blog that they've just posted so you can all listen to it without having to read it yourself. But I'm also really nice and put it on screen anyway. But yeah, so we're going to have a quick gander through this. It looks like they've gone into a little bit of detail. I had a quick scan through to see if they've added things. Initially, I did record the live stream and do a react to that, but I feel like this is going to compartmentalize a lot of the information, so I'm doing this instead. But anyway, let's begin, shall we? Make Sanctuary yours. Play your way in Diablo 4. Yes. Customization is a cornerstone of Diablo 4, from how your character looks to the skills they wield to the appearance of the gear and mount. Diablo 4 empowers players with a level of agency never previously offered in a Diablo game. The decision of what type of wanderer you want to play in the world of Sanctuary begins at the class selection screen and follows you into the endgame. It's up to you to decide how your character will grow and evolve as you pursue Lilith. Watch the latest Inside the Game developer video on player choice and continue reading for more insight into the customization available to players. Plus, learn how you can play Diablo 4 from May 12th during Server Slam. Okay, sure. Probably watch the video afterwards, maybe? I think that is wise. Over the course of our Inside the Game video series, we'll sit down with our resident Diablo 4 experts, members of the development team, to walk you through elements of the game. Our third video in this series is Your Class, Your Way, an exploration of how player choice is infused in character creation, character builds, gear, and even how you decide to navigate the non-linear story of Diablo 4. Join Diablo franchise general manager Rod Ferguson, lead class designer Adam Jackson, lead game producer Melissa Corning, and game director Joe Shelley as they expound upon how your decisions will define your gameplay experience and even Sanctuary itself. So yeah, we'll watch this afterwards. Enjoy the video, blah, blah, blah. Play your way in Sanctuary. Throughout Diablo 4, you will be presented with choices, everything from how your character looks, what skills they'll use to dispatch of Hell's bloodlusting minions, and how the gear you will find, how the gear you find will enhance your character's abilities or transform their appearance. Let's look further into how these elements work to promote playing Diablo 4 your way. Character build. Tis the skill tree. Skill tree. The skill tree provides you with a variety of playstyles for each class through skills, passive skills, enhancements, and key passives as your character levels up and hones their abilities. Skill points are earned from leveling up and zone progress rewards. Up to 5 skill points can be spent on each skill to increase its rank. Developer's note. Our focus is to provide enough contextual connection between skills, passive skills, and key passives for players to understand the essential synergies of their class. By the time players reach level 50, they'll have a deep understanding of how their class is meant to function, preparing them for additional depth found in the Paragon boards and other endgame content. So I said something similar in the little beta review I did. And I was like, I can see why they've done this, because it effectively trains new players how to make a viable build by ensuring that they have utility, a core skill, a generator, etc. However, Diablo devs, if you're watching, as you mentioned, we learn all this by level 50. So after that, why don't you just unlock it so we can just whack our points where we want? Because there's going to be a point where we don't need some of this, probably. On at least one of my builds, on my Barb build, I didn't need Lunging Strike anymore because I could generate Fury from basically everything else. So I'm wasting points here to get to here. So let's just go ham. Level 50, congrats, you know how to do it. Now just unlock the tree so we can just whack points where we want. That would be lovely. Anyway, skill tree nodes. Each class has access to basic, core, and ultimate skills, as well as key passives and skill types unique to that class, such as Companion, Brawling, Subterfuge, and many more. Basic skills. These are the first skills a player can access. They unlock at level 2. Outside of character creation, this is one of the earliest decisions a player will make. Basic skills typically provide additional effects, such as increasing the effectiveness of other skills, providing resource generation, increasing mobility, or adding utility to your character. These skills can always be used and do not have a cooldown or resource cost to cast. Core skills, the older, stronger sibling of basic skills. They are unlocked at level 4. Core skills deal significantly more damage, require an amount of a class's resource to cast, and will often be the bread and butter of your character's offensive combos. Ultimate skills, lol. These skills incur a cooldown after being used, but you will be extremely grateful for having them in your arsenal. Ultimate skills channel immense power and leave devastation in their wake. The reason I lolled, or said lol rather, that's a habit I need to get out of. I didn't used to say lol, and now it's just become a thing. I will stop it soon, I promise. But basically, what they've just said there is a lie. Because I've played the beta, and ultimate skills absolutely did not feel like this. Not at all. They need to vastly reduce the cooldown or vastly improve the damage of ultimate skills. Key passives. Unlocked at level 32. Key passives dramatically affect how your other skills operate, tweaking your playstyle towards a unified goal as you unlock them. Paragon boards. Unlocking upon reaching level 50, Paragon boards are an endgame character growth system designed to empower your Wanderer. Is that what we're going with? Wanderers? That feels really weird when the original Wanderer was Diablo. No, we're not adopting that term. Stop it, Blizzard. As your character continues their journey to level 100, they will receive Paragon points. These points can be used to unlock new nodes, additional Paragon boards, and even glyphs from Nightmare dungeons that amplify the power of the nodes on a particular Paragon board. So never gander at this, actually. Cheap Shot. Cheap Shot. You deal 5% increased damage for each nearby enemy that is crowd controlled, up to 25%. Rare nodes. Is that attached to it? Where is this Cheap Shot that you speak of? Who cares? Anyway, calculated. 15% damage to crowd controlled enemies, plus 100 armor. Oppress. 15% critical strike damage to crowd controlled enemies. 15% damage to crowd controlled enemies. Oh, crit and damage, okay. Devious, 15% damage to crowd controlled enemies, plus 10 dex. Oh, I see. So is the board called Cheap Shot? And there's 6 different boards? Nani? I don't know. Something like that, maybe. Cosmetics and character creation. That's a very silly hat. Anyway. Character creation. Sanctuary is a diverse world with a variety of unique cultures. The character creation in Diablo 4 echoes this sentiment with over 8 trillion appearance combinations. Each class boasts unique hairstyle selections, and players can dictate their appearance down to eye color, body markings, accessories, and more. Transmog. Salvage loot in your inventory to unlock transmog options, allowing armor to have the visual design and color palette you prefer. Diablo 4 will launch with hundreds of transmog options, and I think they have said that they'd be adding more with patches and whatnot, and probably through the cosmetic store, of course. Mounts. Unlocked after completing the main questline with one character, mounts have an assortment of customization options available to them, such as different types of mounts, armor, and trophies. An example of this is the Cry of a Shava mount trophy reward that can be earned from the upcoming Server Slam. These adornments will transform your trusty old steed into one hell of a warhorse. Mount trophies can be attached to the flank of a saddle of your horse. There are dozens of trophies to be found in Sanctuary. Once a mount is unlocked, it can be used in all game modes for any and all characters the player creates. I'm not sure how common the drops are. I know drops were tweaked in the beta. I don't know if that was just for legendaries, but I found some mount armor in like the 50 to 60 hours that I played, just the one though. But again, that could be limited by character level and stuff as well. But it's pretty rare to find it in game from what I've seen. Ooh, what's this? Blood Artisans Cuirass. Is that how you pronounce it? Is that cuirass? Cuirass? I always say cuirass, and I'm pretty sure that's wrong. Someone will correct me in the comments, I'm sure. 7% damage for 4 seconds after picking up a blood orb. 7.5 blood orb healing. Total armor, +1 rank to bone spirit. Oh, I remember this one. Yeah, they actually showed this one in the live stream. Yeah, unique seemed like they could be cool. Oh, that actually does confirm something, because they showed unique items in the live stream, but they were all, I think, ancient uniques. So you can get upgraded versions of uniques, and they were all level 100. This one's level 42, though. You don't get unique drops until level 50, and you're in tier 3 difficulty, though, the nightmare tier. So do bear that in mind. Legendary items. These powerful items possess the ability to enhance or change your skills and lend other helpful bonuses to your character. No legendary left behind. If you happen to leave a legendary item on the ground or are disconnected before you can acquire it, don't fret. They can be accessed through a special storage tab in your stash. Your stash only has so much room. Remember to empty it out from time to time. I actually noticed that during the beta. That's actually like a really cool thing. At the same time, you might purposely leave some legendaries, I guess. Although, no, you realistically probably shouldn't, because you'll use them to salvage into materials and stuff. But I feel like at some point, people are not going to want to pick like crap legendaries up, and then it will just fill up their stash. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, at least towards the late game, I imagine. Skill rank bonuses. Most item types have a chance to contain a bonus that provides players with an increase to certain skills while the item is equipped. These skill rank bonuses can not only bolster the strength of existing skills you have unlocked, but can also unlock new skills from your class skill tree, giving you the ability to trial more skills before committing to them. Skill rank bonuses can increase the rank of a skill past 5, lending an added punch to depth. I'm so glad that they added that to item affixes, to be honest. That's something I am actually chuffed about. Did I not read this bit? I didn't. Unlock legendary items. These rarefied pieces of gear should be coveted. The bonuses they provide cannot be transferred from one item to another through extraction. More on this below. Dozens of these high-powered build-changing items will be available at launch, so keep your eyes peeled for the off chance that you may encounter one. Dozens? Dozens? It's not a lot, is it? I was kind of expecting a little bit more than dozens, but okay. So keep your eyes peeled for the off chance that you may encounter one. Unique items can only be acquired in Nightmare and Torment World tiers. Also, treasures from a bygone era have been unearthed in Diablo 4. Unique items from previous Diablo games, such as Windforce, have returned. Extracting legendary bonuses. Have a legendary item with a bonus you adore, but the other stats are too weak. Extracting allows you to take the legendary bonus from one item and apply it to other items, enabling you to tailor your items to your specific build and have your favorite bonuses on hand. Crafting. In Diablo 4, we're trying to emphasize item modification. We want players to find items in the world and consider the potential they hold. Players can reroll bonuses, increase the power of items, exchange legendary bonuses, and add gem sockets to the items. The reason I said is because that's not really crafting. It's re-rolling an affix and then making numbers get bigger, which doesn't really feel like crafting to me. Blizzard, crafting is getting a basic item like a white or a blue or maybe even a rare, and then adding things to it and actually having some control and making it far better than just going, I re-rolled an affix. That would be crafting. Please add that as soon as. That would be lovely. You've got like this whole UI and crafting materials and stuff. Utilize it. Launch system requirements for PC. You may be prepared to storm into Sanctuary on June 6th, but do you know which settings will pair best with your PC? We've provided multiple tiers of PC spec requirements based upon data from our early access and open beta weekends to ensure the settings you choose suit your playing preferences and hardware. 4 spec tiers listed below will be available in both the Server Slam and launch build of Diablo 4. Minimum specs, let's have a gander. So this is to run it at 1080p. Okay, that's a bit cheeky. Low graphic settings and 30 FPS. So you would need an i5 25K or a bulldozer chip. God, they're still around. I've actually got one of those in my cupboard behind me. 8 gigs of RAM, GTX 660. Holy shit. That's actually crazy impressive. The fact that games can still, like, especially Diablo 4, it's a pretty game. Let's not lie to ourselves. That's actually quite impressive. 90 gigs of available space. I don't actually think you need 90 gigs if you're running it at 1080, because that's for the high textures, which you'd probably want at like 1440 or at the very like most 4K. If you're not playing at 4K, I think it drops down to about 35 gig for those of you who are struggling for space. Settings to run Diablo 4 at 1080p resolution, medium graphics settings, and 60 FPS. An i5 4670K or a Ryzen 1300X. 16 gigs of RAM. GTX 9070, which was like the most popular graphics card on the planet at one point. So everyone has pretty much that or better for the most part. So most of you are going to be on this, I'd imagine. Again, 90 gigs, broadband connection, high specs. Settings to run at 1080p on high graphics and 60 FPS. 8700K, 2700X if you're on AMD, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 2060, which is pretty fair, or a RX 5700 XT. Not bad, not bad. To be fair, Blizzard always do great when it comes to like optimization and stuff like that. Settings to run at 4K, ultra graphic settings, and 60 FPS. You need an 8700K, 2700X, so the CPU isn't too big a deal, to be honest. I was expecting that to go up. 32 gigs of RAM. Whew. I have 32 gigs of RAM, but that's not a very common configuration for gamers to have. NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 or a RTX 40 series card for fully supported DLS3 or AMD. So it says 40 series card. Does that include the 4070? I imagine it does, because that is kind of comparable to a 3080, I suppose. It's kind of a bit sketch that they've just put 40 series card, because someone might see this down the line and be like, oh, I've got a 4060 when they eventually release one and think that they can play at 40k ultra graphics, which maybe they can with DLS and all that. Diablo 4 will attempt to run on hardware below minimum specifications, including hard disk drives, dual core CPUs, and integrated graphics. Don't do that. However, the game experience may be significantly diminished, as opposed to not being able to run at all. Help us prepare for launch during the server slam. They're doing another beta. They surprised us during the live stream, May 12th, 12 p.m. until May 14th, 12 p.m. That's PDT. Against the armies, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be on all platforms, barring the Switch, along with couch co-op for consoles and crossplay and cross-progression for all platforms. For information, go look at that thing. Be prepared to enter Hell's Gates. Ultimate Edition, lots of sales stuff. Should we watch this video? Let's have a gander at this video. I might have to move the camera. Ooh. Nope, not that. Wrong window, Brian. Go here. That'll do, pig. That'll do. I think I just died.
In the eternal conflict between the high heavens and the burning hells, Diablo 4 offers you more choice than ever before. Player choice is infused into everything, from how you look, the skills you use, the loot you equip, your path through the non-linear story, to how and when you choose to explore the shared open world.
We want players to play their own way and have their own choice of how they're going to build their character.
Between all of our different systems, you can really create a custom character in ways that was not available in previous Diablo titles.
Yes.
When you log into Diablo 4, the first thing you're gonna have to do is create your character. And those familiar with Diablo are gonna be very familiar with the screen with all the classes sitting around the campfire.
In Diablo 4, we got 5 classes. The Barbarian is your fantasy of a fierce warrior or fighter.
The Barbarian is the weapon master of Diablo 4, being able to pick up any weapon, jump into the fray, and do really badass stuff with it.
They're very strong, they're very physical, they can take different weapons for different situations
really
and use them to their maximum effect.
The Sorcerer is really your elemental mage. You have fire, ice, lightning. You can either focus on one or you can kind of be a jack-of-all-trades mage and use abilities from all three.
They're a little more fragile than other classes, tend to be more ranged. The Rogue, unlike the Barbarian,
A little more fragile unless you spec into barriers and then you're basically immortal, which I found in the beta.
They are a little bit more clever. They're very fast. They have the ability to imbue their weapons with different elemental energies, and they can modify them to do different things.
The Rogue has 2 different types of playstyles. You have the ranged...
Also, Blizzard, please upload these videos at 4K? Why are you still doing it at 1080p? I beg.
Crossbow type gameplay, or you have that in your face daggers, poisons. You can bait the enemies into traps that have huge effects. More stealthy type gameplay. And the druid is really this shapeshifter.
When you cast certain skills, you change your form, what you look like and what you can do. They can turn into werebears or werewolves. If I cast a werewolf skill, I turn into a werewolf and I do werewolf things. If I cast like pulverize, for example, which is a werebear skill, I turn into a werebear, I slam the ground really hard. Fits the fantasy, it's pretty cool. They can also become masters of nature magic with earth and
I
storm
really
magic.
hope they buff
Last
the
but not least, we
damage.
got the necromancer. They raise
the
armies of
druid.
the dead. They have different types
It
of
was
minions.
so item
You've got your
dependent
skeletal
in
warriors, your
the
skeletal
beta.
mages, and then your golem.
You have blood magic or bone magic that you can also take advantage of and tackle combat that way. If you've played a previous Diablo game and you enjoyed a certain play style, you can actually bring that into Diablo 4 or just try something completely new.
No matter which class you play, there's going to be multiple different avenues and fantasies that you can chase.
You can customize your character in ways you've never been able to before, with near-endless character creation and transmog options.
In previous Diablo games, you had to
Goth
be attached
GF
to certain archetypes and
simulator.
look a certain
That's
way.
what it is.
And in Diablo 4, it's really up to you how you want your character to look.
You'll be able to choose from different facial structures from people all over the world. No matter where you are, you'll be able to say, hey, I can actually make someone that looks like me or looks like someone from my part of the world, which we're really proud of. You can pick a hairstyle for your character, and every class actually has a specific hairstyle that no other class can use. You can pick your eye color. We have some really fun ones. We have eye glowing. We have a bloodshot type eye. And then you can actually pick a marking, which is a tattoo or a design that covers your entire character. And there are dozens of those.
Transmog is the idea that you can take a piece
Dozens.
of gear and change the appearance of it to look like a different piece of gear. As far as aesthetics, the sky is the limit. However you can think of making your character, you can make it that way.
Everybody's going to look completely different in Diablo 4.
One of our pillars for class design in Diablo 4 is this idea that we want players to play the way that they
Until
want
they
to.
release
When
a
you first
really
start
like
the game,
sick
we introduce you to
cosmetic
the
on the
idea of
store and then
skill
everyone
tree.
buys
As you
it.
level up, you get access to these different skills or passives or upgrades to make your character more powerful.
Each category has a few different skills that are all similar. They're either all defensive or all offensive, all ice or all fire. You can either focus on a very specific section or you can pick and choose.
The first skill point when you unlock a new skill is going to give you access to that skill. After that, you can put additional points into any skill that you have, and it's going to make it better, whether it increases the radius or adds some new effect or reduces the cooldown through some special way.
You can actually branch out in a very different direction, even if two characters actually started at the same place. The Paragon board is a late game system that once you've completely filled out your skill tree, you think you have a build, it will really let you delve into the theory crafting and the depth of Diablo 4's skill system.
And these boards, they can move through them spending their Paragon points, and they have nodes that give them very basic stats like intellect or dexterity. We also have more powerful nodes. We have rare nodes that have different effects where they can totally modify a skill to do something additional or different, or they can even make new connections between skills so that players can have new ways to play their character. Legendary nodes are equivalent to legendary powers, where they have more powerful effects that can change the builds and ways that characters play.
You can start planning this long journey of, okay, I want to hit this node and then I want to hit this node. I'm going to apply this board and I'm going to start from this side and really just get into a super complex, very specific build for your character.
I'm someone who
Legendary
loves
items
their
are
crafting, and
really
I'm going to be
rare and
staring at this
powerful
board
items that you're
for
gonna find
hours.
as you adventure through the world of Sanctuary. We have quite a few different categories of legendaries and how they do that. Some of them will actually change your skill or enhance it in some way.
Frozen Orb, for example, it might say, hey, every single time you use your Frozen Orb, it applies a new effect. And then I can actually take advantage of that new effect that it has. Even if the item itself is maybe not as good as the one you have, you can still extract that power from it, take advantage of it, and use it for your build.
One thing that our players can look forward to is that a lot of our classic, really rare, and most powerful items from previous titles are going to be returning as uniques in Diablo 4.
I want to actually see what Windforce looks like. Can you not? There we go. Set.
Rare and most powerful items from previous titles are going to be returning.
Let's see what they did with Windforce. I'm intrigued. So it's level 44. I do like that you can find items and the level requirement is like significantly lower than what you would usually find it at, because it means that you can then give that to an alt to have them level up far faster, which I'm a big fan of. Attack speed. I wish there was a bit more variety in the attack speeds as well. I noticed that in the beta. Like everything was either 0.9 or up to 1.10. I don't think I saw anything higher or lower than that. It was kind of weird. 32 to all stats. Nice. And this is just the basic bitch version as well, not like the ancient version. Plus 18 to core skill damage. 25% damage to distant enemies. Plus 2 ranks of the impetus passive. Lucky hit. Oh, is it? Yeah, of course it's rogue only. I was like, why is it rogue only? Thinking Diablo 2, you can just give bows to everyone. Lucky hit. Hits with this weapon have up to 18% chance to deal double damage and knockback the target. Okay. Lucky hit's such a weird stat. For those who don't know, lucky hit has 2 like dice rolls. So you have a dice roll to see if you do a lucky hit. And then if you've got multiple types of lucky hit, there's a dice roll to pick which one it is. So you can't do multiple lucky hits with one blow. It's just like, or multiple types of lucky hit. It picks one of the various ones that you'll have in your build. It's such a weird skill. I kind of just wish that it was here, this bow gives you knockback. Like, just do that. The lucky hit stuff's weird to me.
Turning his
Anyway,
uniques in Diablo
carry on.
4.
Unique items are very similar to legendaries, but they're unique, which means if that ability
Another one. What's this? Ashira's. Ooh. Kanjar. Damage to close enemies, a dagger. Ooh, 1.2. I've been corrected. 21 basic skill damage, 9% damage to crowd controlled enemies, 25% movement speed for 4 seconds after killing an elite, plus 7% lucky hit chance. Hits with this weapon increase your attack speed by 4.5% for 4 seconds, up to 22.5%. That sounds super strong. Although for the build I'm doing, which is like the Twin Blades build, which I'm actually starting with, I'm going to be starting with a rogue. I would be better off with swords, but that could be very good for like a hardcore melee build.
is actually on a chess piece,
We've
it's
seen that
always
one.
going to be on that chess piece because it's more powerful than a regular legendary effect.
Crafting is a big part of Diablo 4. We have all kinds of different ways that you could upgrade and interact with NPCs to make your gear better. You can increase the item level or power of your gear, so you can actually get a piece of gear and just make it stronger. You can also add sockets to your gear so that you can put gems inside of it.
There are a lot of different ways that players will
Crafting.
be able to customize their experience in Diablo 4. Every single player is going to have a different experience and a different build at the end of the day.
Because we have all of these different ways to make your own character, there's a lot more possibility compared to previous titles of how you want to play, how you want to build your character. We really are doubling down on this idea that you can look the way you want, you can play the way you want, you can really make your own fantasy in this game.
Hell welcomes all, and so does Diablo 4. In the coming weeks, we'll be sharing even more about how to play your way. Now, our launch on June 6th is getting closer. Closer still if you got early access. And we can't wait to see you in Sanctuary. Hail Lilith, Blessed Mother.
Pre-purchase now, because you might run out of digital keys. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm excited for Diablo 4. I have criticisms, by all means, such as the crafting system. But overall, I am very, very, very excited for the game. It looks fantastic. It is fun to play, unless you're playing the druid. Then you weep in the fetal position until you hit end game and get all the gear that you want. Then you can have fun. But otherwise, every other class that I've played, I've really enjoyed. I will be checking out the rogue again during the server slam to see how the imbuements nerf has affected the build that I intended on doing. And I'll check out the druid as well. They've buffed the minions. They did say they have tweaked other things that they didn't directly mention in the previous blog post with regards to the beta feedback. So it could be that they've tweaked some other numbers, and those little tweaks may add up to a substantial difference. We'll see. But yes, in May, I will give that a go, and I will report on my findings. I'll also be posting like starter build guides prior to launch as well. A lot of the build guides that I've seen so far have basically been, this is the build you can have if you have all the perfect gear. Bearing in mind, it was raining legendaries in the beta, and it's not going to be raining legendaries on launch. So I'm going to make a guide where you're not having to look at builds that are dependent on gear. You can just make a build that you know will be sufficient to get you through the leveling process until you can get to endgame, and then you can go ham with the uber builds with all the perfect legendaries. But that's going to be it for me. Thank you everyone for watching. Like the video if you liked it, and dislike it if you dislike it. It's engagement either way, so I don't care. And subscribe, because there's just more videos, and Last Epoch build guides are also coming. So yes, farewell. I'll remember you.